Per reports, the Pittsburgh Steelers have just contacted the Washington Commanders in an attempt to trade for wide receiver Terry McLaurin. So, Terry McLaurin has been in contract talks with the Commanders all offseason, but with no deal getting done, he now wants out, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the mix for him. But first, before I get more into it, however, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, Terry McLaurin has just requested a trade, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to trade for him. Because every huge playmaker, doesn't matter what position, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been in the mix for, and have contacted the other teams to try to trade for them, and specifically the wide receiver spots. The Pittsburgh Steelers obviously got DK Metcalf in a huge trade this offseason, and have also traded away George Pickens, but now they're in the mix for another receiver, a number 2 or 1B type of guy, and Terry McLaurin is exactly that, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have the cap space and the trade assets to make it happen. So, Terry McLaurin, he is 29 years old and has been one of the most consistent, productive receivers in the NFL over the past 6 years. It doesn't matter who his quarterback has been, he has logged 5 1,000-yard seasons while being named to 2 Pro Bowls and was second-team All-Pro this past season in 2024. So, he's now headed into his final year of his contract and wants a new one, but has made no ground with the Commanders in terms of getting a new deal done. They've been working all offseason on it. He obviously feels as though it's not going his direction, and now he has requested a trade out to a new team so he could eventually get that deal done. And he informed the team that he wants out this week. And this has prompted Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers to reach out per reports. This is per DK Pittsburgh Sports and CBS that the Pittsburgh Steelers have contacted the Commanders for him. So, in reaching out to the Commanders, the Steelers learned that Terry McLaurin not only wants to be paid like a true number 1 receiver, which is expected, but he wants to be a true number 1 receiver on whatever team he plays for in 2025 and beyond. And with the Steelers having DK Metcalf signed to a 5-year, $150 million contract, they've committed to him as a number 1 receiver, so it may be hard having 2 number 1 guys in terms of making Terry McLaurin happy. But I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a lot of cap space to make him happy if they really wanted to, and they have Aaron Rodgers who could easily get both those guys the ball. Just like last season when he contacted Davante Adams to get him to come to the Jets, but have also had Garrett Wilson and made both those guys a top priority in the offense as number 1 receivers. So, it's no surprise that Omar Khan, he picked up the phone and called out Terry McLaurin. The Steelers general manager has been very aggressive this offseason in terms of landing huge playmakers like Jalen Ramsey, like Jonnu Smith, who's just made a Pro Bowl last season, like DK Metcalf. Omar Khan has been a really aggressive general manager, and with McLaurin now on the trade market and maybe going to a different team, Omar Khan is doing whatever he can to land him. Looking at McLaurin, his cap hit this season is only $18.8 million, and the Steelers still have like around $30 million in cap space. And if you look at what assets the Steelers have, they have a lot of draft picks for next season. In terms of, I'm pretty sure they have 12. So the Steelers can use that draft capital to try to trade for McLaurin and still have a lot of capital left over based off the comp picks that they got for their players leaving in free agency. So the Steelers, if they really wanted to, they can make McLaurin happy and also land a really talented player. So, with McLaurin searching for a situation to be the top receiver, the Steelers can be a fit. And trading away George Pickens has left a hole on this team in terms of who's the number 2 guy or number 1A, 1B type of guy for sure. We don't know yet. We think it's Calvin Austin, but getting Terry McLaurin will make that definite and 100% that we know. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've been in a search for a wide receiver number 2 last season in terms of searching for Brandon Ayuk to add to George Pickens, searching for other players midseason like Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, when they became available on the trade market. So it doesn't surprise me that Omar Khan is now looking at Terry McLaurin as an option for wide receiver on this team. And there's a reason why we still have so much cap space, because a big move is still to be made. And a lot of people may be thinking, hey, the Steelers are in no possible way going to get Terry McLaurin on the trade block, and the Steelers don't even want him. Well, I would say, why would the Steelers even phone and check in for Terry McLaurin if they didn't want him? Obviously, there's some level of interest there. You're just not calling about a player for no reason. So obviously the Steelers value him and would want him on the team if it's for the right price. Now, on the other hand, would the Washington Commanders be willing to trade Terry McLaurin away? Me personally, I think they would rather get a deal done just based off his career thus far, it being all in Washington and sticking through short and thin with all the different quarterbacks and all the revolving doors there and still put up numbers, but also because they just found their quarterback in Jayden Daniels, and he looks to be the guy, and he's the player who just took them deep in the playoffs with Terry McLaurin. So they would probably want to keep those two together for quite a long time, as long as they can. So would Washington be willing to trade him? Probably not. But if they realize that they won't be able to get a deal done for the long future, they might have to, instead of losing him next season for nothing. Terry McLaurin really holds all the chips. It's either the Washington Commanders trade him and get huge value back for him, or he'll just leave next season in free agency, and all he'll get back is a comp pick, which may be a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick, who knows. So he really holds all the cards here, and he basically asks for what he wants, because he knows if he hits free agency, a different team will give him that contract. There's 31 other teams in the NFL for a reason, and one of those teams would give him what he wants and make him the number 1 receiver based off his production and him just going deep in the playoffs. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, like I said, if you're surprised by them kind of going out and looking for top tier guys, you shouldn't be at this point, because everyone who the Pittsburgh Steelers have set their eyes on in the recent years, they've actually attempted and pursued them hard in the trade market. Doesn't matter who it was. We heard the talks all offseason about Brandon Ayuk, and the Steelers are going hard to get him. They didn't end up landing him, but they were actually trying. Jalen Ramsey, all the talk around him, well, the Steelers actually landed him. DK Metcalf, well, the Steelers actually landed him. So all the guys we think are unthinkable in terms of the Steelers getting, you have to think it's a real possibility now with how the new kind of general manager is handling business and the new regime for the Steelers front office are making deals. They're not afraid to go out and spend money and go out and spend assets in order to get top tier guys. And Terry McLaurin is just another player on that list who the Steelers are interested in now. And it's a real possibility he lands here. So the Steelers, they've officially contacted the Washington Commanders in an attempt to trade for Terry McLaurin, who is disgruntled. He wants out because he can't get a contract done. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you think that's going to go? Do you think the Steelers will eventually land Terry McLaurin to this team for draft assets? Do you want him? Do you not want him? And what would you give up for him if he were to come here? Me personally, I'm willing to give up a 2nd round draft pick and maybe a 4th or 5th in a different year because he's that good of a player. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, adding him to the team, that solidifies the wide receiver position for a long time with DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin himself. And the Steelers have the cap space to do it. So it's not like you're handcuffing yourself in that area. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But also, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports. Everything surrounding this team I've covered this offseason. Doesn't matter what it is. Training camp is still going on, and I'll have you covered for all the recaps of that as well. Every new player, all the rumors. This is the best spot for Pittsburgh Steelers football. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn notifications. And until next time, I'll see you guys all later. Until tomorrow, I'm out. Peace.